Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Adventures of a Real Estate Investor. I'm Susie.
And I'm Michael. And we're excited you joined us for this adventure.
So today's guest is Christy Keeton. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Michael and Susie, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And we really do appreciate it. And just to let our audience know, so I actually met Christy through an introduction from Jerome Myers, but the craziest part about it all was that Michael and I had listened to Christy's episode with Jerome. And if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it because it's hilarious. It's like comedy, really. It's not like a real estate investing episode. But that next day is when Jerome introduced me to Christy. And I was like, wow, it was meant to be. I mean, I had listened to you on other podcasts before, so I know you'll be super great for this, but it all just aligned really well. So we are very happy that you were here.
Thank you. Yeah, that was definitely a fun episode with Jerome.
Had us rolling for sure. Christy, would you mind sharing with our adventurous family a little bit about you and your background and why you started investing in real estate?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I was in the oil and gas industry for more than 15 years, and I analyzed deals and to make sure that they would work. So that just kind of rolled over into the real estate business. They were multi-million-dollar deals, where to drill a well, how to drill it, if they have the money to drill it, that kind of thing, the budget for it, because it's the same concept of deal making. So then in 2012, my son had graduated a year prior to that from high school. He wanted to go into real estate. That's the reason why we started Keeton Realty Investments. And we flipped a few homes between 2012 and 2019. Well, in 2019, the oil industry, my position in the oil industry ended, which was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
So summertime, we're like, okay, we're going to go just full blown into real estate. We're going to start flipping homes. And then I saw an ad for multifamily real estate investing. And I went, what is this multifamily thing? People own apartments. Wait a minute.
Right?
It was never a concept. It was never a concept in my mind that people actually own these things. So I started researching everything I could to find out, how I do this. So educational program, spent the money to do that, started learning. Still, didn't get my son and I were working together. We were still flipping houses, but we weren't getting any traction on the multifamily end. Then I found my tribe. And that's my capital partners, Quattro Capital, and they just started bringing me in, and I had real estate brokers, relationships. And so the reason why I got into real estate to begin with, number one is my son. And number two, I want to leave a legacy behind. And I call it #legacy wealth is what I say all the time. So that's really what I want is I want to leave a legacy for my grandchildren going forward.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to kind of dive into a little bit is you hear about, family members trying to get their other family members into real estate or something like that, or trying to, entice them or something like that, trying to get them into it. How did you, and it sounds like your son kind of was interested in real estate, wanted to move into that. Was it something that you were doing at home that kind of got him turned on to, not in a traditional going to college, get a degree, get a 9-to-5, work until you're 65 and hopefully you save enough money to retire at that time? What was it that you did, or was it his own little mindset that he had to want to go into real estate and he saw that opportunity there?
So thanks. That was a great question because it's a little bit of both, actually. To be honest with you, HGTV is what gave him the bug. So that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. And so I told him, if that's what you want to do, it's your choice. But I also gave him the option of college. If you want to go to college, you're welcome to go to college. I'll help you pay for college, get you through that. And he said, Mom, I just don't think school is for me. I want to find something that I'm the boss, that I can do without that college degree. And what he has seen over the years is that a lot of our family members had college degrees and they're still making, less than the six figures that he wants to make.
Mhm.
So there we were. I was like, okay, well, HGTV for the win. And so I want to go ahead and say this now. He moved to Arizona at the end of 2015. Actually, he moved to Arizona. And we were still business partners up until the end of 2019, and he decided to go on his own. So that's part of the, I wanted to go ahead and throw that out there as well. But I mean, he's almost 30 years old at this point. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, even through that, you found Quattro, right? I think those timelines.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
that's phenomenal.
That's cool. Is he
Yeah.
still like flipping houses, or did he move into, buy and hold, like
No,
multifamily?
he actually is doing his own thing. He's now got a wife and a baby, and there's a few other business opportunities that he has jumped into, investment business opportunities. He has not closed the door on real estate, but he's trying he's sticking his tentacles out there for other business opportunities to see how well they go.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
totally makes sense. Love it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got to grow as a person in different ways too. So completely.
Yeah, I've told him diversify.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Find something that you enjoy doing and do it. And real estate is one of the things that he enjoys, but he wants to just feel out what other investments he can do. So
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
And my nephew is like coming of age right now. He's like moving into his junior year of high school, and I'm like trying to entice. We don't have any kids right now, and so like I'm trying to. We're gonna hand this business off to somebody, and I'm
Sure.
trying to get him interested right now. Just putting the feelers out, and actually, I've been trying to put feelers out for the past 6-9 months or whatever, but.
Right.
He had sent me like a TikTok video, and he's like, "You have to watch this." And it was like somebody doing something about real estate on TikTok, and he's like, "This is incredible. This is amazing."
Is this real?
He's like, "Is this real?" I was like, "Yes, it is real. You can
It
make a lot of
is.
money."
Yeah. You can make a lot of money. It may take you a longer than a minute, but you
Yeah.
can make a lot of money if you hustle for
Yeah.
sure.
So that TikTok video like enticed him, and now he's like asking
Awesome.
questions and stuff like that. And so I was like, "Awesome, cool,
Right.
let's do it."
Yes.
So
Yes.
even
Indeed.
with like timelines, because some people like have success right away and some people don't. And it sounds like with your education process, it took a little longer than you expected. Do you regret that education process? Like, would you have done it differently? Or like, what did that timeline look like? Or how do you, sorry, there's a lot of questions, just one more.
No, that's okay.
Like, what advice would you give people for when it is taking longer than they expected?
That is such a great question, because people think that it's going to happen overnight, especially whenever they get into one of these educational programs, because it is promised. I did another podcast called Rainbows and Unicorns, and people do think it's rainbows and unicorns. They think they see these TikToks like you were talking about, or they hear the podcast that somebody has made it. Well, yeah, they made it, but they didn't make it overnight. They didn't make it in 7 days. They may not have even made it in 6 months. It took me 1.5 years before I closed my first multifamily deal. And oh, was it rough? Oh, it was so rough. It was so rough because I had literally put all of my money into learning the business and into finding the networking that I needed to find through meetups, through conferences, and some of the meetups, I mean, were costing me money on a regular. So, and I was going to 5 or 6 of those a week to just build relationships. You're not going to build a relationship in 7 days. You're not going to build trust in 7 days, and people may not like you in 7 days, and that's the way they have to know you, trust you, and like you in order to get that partnership going and that relationship going. And so it took me 1.5 years, but it was worth the 1.5 years. It was worth it. It was worth every trial and tribulation that I had to go through. It was worth the move from Texas to Georgia. It was worth the rejection from brokers, because you're going to get it, especially when they find out that you're new. They're like, "Oh, you just came out of that program. Okay, yeah, okay." And so they don't want anything to do with you. And it was difficult, but it's worth it if you keep going. Just don't give in. Don't give in to that fear of you're never going to get it. Don't give in to that mindset of nobody likes you. No, you're never going to get it. Just hang in there and keep going and keep pushing forward with those brokers. Keep networking and find your tribe. Find the people that can help you level up. That's the best advice that I can give, is just hang in there and keep going. Some people have a W-2 job and some don't. I didn't because I had already exited the oil and gas industry. So I didn't have that. And so, like I said, all of my money had gone into the educational program. But here we are. We'll get to the other stuff later, probably. It's just so exciting. It's very exciting, but it does take longer than a week to get your feet dug into this industry. Just hang in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And what I like to tell people is, like, real estate is simple, right? But it's not easy. It's
not
very
easy.
Simple. And you have to hustle, and you got to grind every single day. Yeah. Like just Susie and I, like we, from the time we started, it took us, from the time we thought about real estate, we were like, oh my God, real estate's amazing. We're going to do this. It took us almost a year to close on our first property. And we, once we decided multifamily was our thing, for like 6 months straight, we were grinding, and we had like 20 to 25 investor calls a week and things like that. Like it's not something you just, oh, I'm going to do it. And you just kind of do it a little bit here, dabble a little bit there, and think you're going to close on a deal. You got to grind every single day.
You do.
Yep.
And even to put it into perspective too, because a lot of people will look at Michael and I and they're like, oh, you got something like faster than some people do, but it's two of us. So like, if it takes one person a year to do something, it could take us easily 6 months, because like we decided what our roles were and made sure that like we were holding each other accountable for those roles. And that makes a world of a difference.
It does. It does. Yeah, for sure. And when my son and I first began, we did have the roles, and we held each other accountable. And that's how I believe that we got a lot of the house flips that we got, was the roles that we put into place.
That's cool.
Multifamily. Yeah. And the multifamily, when you're there are so many roles in multifamily. And when you're trying to do it by yourself, you want to give up. You want to go, I'm going back to corporate. To heck with this. This is too hard. But if you just hang in there, keep emailing those brokers, keep calling them. I mean, if you send them, I don't know if y'all know what TIF treats is, but send them TIF treats, send them edible bouquets, and you can send them like once a month or something, just to keep your name in front of them. And they're not expensive gifts, and it kind of gets them going, okay, well, she's kind of serious, or he's kind of serious about doing business with me. They keep sending me cookies. I don't know what, and that includes their office, those type of things. So just keep putting your name in front of them, build those relationships. Can't say that enough. Relationships.
Right.
Yeah. They are the lifeblood of especially in multifamily, right? Like any real estate really is networking all base, but like multifamily is like networking supercharged, right?
Yeah.
Like,
supercharged for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I want to ask a question about, because you said like finding your tribe, and that's super important. And I know we were just talking about relationships. How did you actually meet like Quattro Capital and that tribe, and who did you meet out of the group first?
Okay. So again, it's all about networking.
Yeah.
So we went to, my son and I went to a networking event. Again, it costs money to get into this networking event, but we thought if we can get in and just meet one valuable person or individual, that would just make it for us. I met Kim Winland at that event. Yes. And her and Chad were together, but Chad was kind of focused on, looking around, seeing what's going on, because I think that he was fairly new into the multifamily space as well. Kim said, another Texas girl. What? We need to know each other. And so from that point, her and I probably spoke at least once a week for about 6 months, got to know each other. At the end of 2019, she came to my last house flip. And again, I was even then, I was still hustling, trying to get multifamily. And I had an investor on the phone, and I was behind the detached garage where it was the quietest because there were hammers and saws and everything else going on. And she came to visit me, and she come around the corner, and I'm on the phone with an investor, and she's going, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "It's an investor." She's like, "I cannot believe out of everything that's going on, you're trying to flip this house. All of this noise is going on, and you're back here hustling, trying to get an investor to invest in a property you don't even have yet." And I was like, "That's what you're supposed to do, right?" She said, "Oh, yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to do." Well, from that point, I could honestly say we're probably BFFs at this point, because we talk on a regular basis, and she brought me in to Quattro and introduced me to the rest of the tribe.
Yeah.
And from that point, it was like a weight had lifted, because I'm no longer doing it myself. I had the broker relationships, and I had deals that were coming through, but I didn't have the capital behind me. I didn't have the know all to get a deal closed. I didn't have that, and they have that.
Mhm.
I mean, they closed 9 deals in 2020 during a pandemic. 9 deals during a pandemic where everybody else was slamming on their brakes. Quattro was like, "Brakes, no, let's accelerate, because this is where we're going to get the better deals." So that's where I was like, "Let's go. Okay, y'all are bringing me in. Let's go." So I believe that I have my tribe with Quattro Capital as far as a capital partner. I do have others that I will take deals to, that are, 1,000 units or more, those type of deals.
Yeah.
So it'll be more institutional money. But Quattro has brought me in, put me under their wing, and taught me from start to finish how to do a deal. And I am so grateful. All the money in the world could not pay for what they've taught me, just on a deal, just on one deal. It just blows my mind.
That's
They are
awesome.
so giving. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I want to ask one thing, or kind of highlight one thing for our listeners.
Sure.
You said you attended this networking event, and your whole thing was like, "Hey, I'm going to meet one person," right? Like everything will be worth it if I meet one person, right? A lot of people have the mindset like, "Hey, I'm going to go to a networking event. I'm going to, hand out 1,000 business cards or whatever. And then hopefully I make a connection or two."
Yeah. Hopefully
right?
one person calls me, like.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I've heard this before, and I love hearing it from you as well, Christy, is that like, just go to a networking event with the mindset of going there, meeting one person.
Yeah. With intention.
With intention. Yeah. Go with intention.
Yes.
One person to help you in your business. And that's all you should be focused on, right? If you meet two,
Correct.
but like, you should go there with intention to meet just one person, and then hang out with that person the entire weekend or the entire week or whatever length of the conference is. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you can get one person to hang out with you for the entire weekend or the conference, that's fantastic. But what the advice that I would give when you go into a conference is, yeah, you can take your business cards, but make sure that you're getting more than you're giving.
Love it.
Get more business cards than you're giving, because if you get more business cards than you're giving, that means you can make contact with those people.
Mhm.
Instead of you going, I hope you call me, and hand your card. No, get their business card and make sure that you're getting more than you're giving.
Love it.
Absolutely. How did your goals change after you met Quattro?
My goals changed tremendously. I mean, so my goal for 2021 is 1,000 units. That's my goal for 2021. And I'm halfway there.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So, and we have another contract that will be, we should have a contract signed by the end of next week that will get me 3/4 of the way there.
That's
awesome.
exciting.
Yeah. So I'm like, that was an ambitious goal, but look, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah, knowing their wisdom and their understanding of this space and how, and again, it's the people that you know, or the people that you network with, because we have a property management company that just knocks it out of the park with that. Just blows my mind. And they're basically taking over all of our properties, and all of our new properties, let me let me throw that in there. All of our new properties, they just knock it out of the park. They have such a great process in place that they can take heavy lifts, which means going in basically and rehabbing everything that needs to be rehabbed. And it's changed my mindset. It's changed my physical, like legitimately my physical appearance has changed. I have peace. I have joy again, which I didn't have. It literally has just changed my life, and they know, and I just can't explain it. I can't explain what's going on within me of finding my tribe like I did with Quattro. I just can't explain it if you can't tell.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, your heart's like this all the time, like
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm a giving person. I've always been a giving person, but having somebody invest in me the way that they've done just makes the overflow of my giving even more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I want to, everything that they've taught me, I want to give to other people. I want to, like the ladies I was talking about this morning, I give my time to them because I believe that it's important, and they so need it. They so need it. This industry has not been the best for them. And I'm like, no, let's do this. Let's get you into a place where you can close a deal, a good one, that you're not in a marriage with somebody else, that's not going to do you right. So.
Absolutely. Two things I want to point out there. Like you said, you help these women and things like that. Like that's critical, because like what we've noticed is like, once we get into these rooms with other people who are doing the things that we want to do, and you see a lot of things in other people, like when I found our mentor, like our organic mentor, I was like, this is the guy I want to be like him, whatever. And then I start chatting, getting to know him. I was like, wait, hang on a second. Like, yes, he's doing incredible things, but I'm just like him. Right.
Yeah.
And like these women are looking at you, Christy, and like, they're like, I'm just like Christy. I can do this. If she can do it,
yes.
I can do it. It's like, it's amazing what happens to your mindset. Like once you get into these rooms with these people. And so, and speaking of mindset as well, I kind of want to get on this as well. You said that you set this ambitious goal for 1,000 units this year. And you're like, I didn't really think you're going to meet it, but now you're going to crush it. Right. So it's incredible. And when you hear these amazing CEOs like Steve Jobs and like Elon Musk, right? Like, just an example, like I've read their biographies by then. Like what I see constantly is like they set like really ambitious goals, right? So Elon will take over a team. The team sets some arbitrary goal, whatever. Like he's like, no, we can do that in 3 weeks versus 3 months, right? And he takes over the project and he motivates those people to get it done. Most of the time, they don't meet that goal in 3 weeks, but they're like 75% more than they would have been if they just set it in 3 months, right? So it's just incredible. Like, when you set your mind to something, how much you can actually do, and you put it out in the universe, and then the universe gives back, and it's just amazing. So
yeah, it's definitely a mindset game, really. This whole industry is, because although you have to physically do all of these things as well, if your mindset isn't right, I mean, you can crawl up, you'll crawl up in the bed and put the covers over your head and just go, I can't do it. So it's definitely a mindset. And again, the people that you surround yourself with, they help you with that mindset. So when your mindset's not right, they can help you get it right. That's one of Jerome Myers. He's like, now, is that really what you need to be thinking? Oh, maybe not, Jerome. So yeah, he's great. He's great at calling me out on a lot of things. Like, Okay, we won't do that.
You know what else though that I love that you said or that you made like a parent, and I don't know if a lot of people picked up on it, but like once you found your tribe, like because you found people who could do things that you like didn't know how to do. So now you actually have the headspace to go off and coach others, like
Yes.
when you are trying to do everything yourself, you don't have that extra space to be able to give. And
That's correct.
if that's what you want to do, then you're not fulfilling, like you're not filling your own cup, and then like really
That's
the
good.
work that you're putting out is not 100% because it's not something that really fills you deep down. So when people like are hesitant of like finding the tribe or making a team, like don't be, because when you do find the people, you have so much more headspace to do so many more things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. I completely agree with that. Yeah. I had never thought of it that way, to be honest with you. But yeah, because of you being overwhelmed all the time
all the time
with all of the information, all of the data, all of the calls, you have to remember names, and you have to remember, what they're doing and their family and all this. And yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And you know what else? Like, not only like do you coach though, you're huge into like giving back for organizations in India. So the Rescue Life and the Water for Asia. Can you please tell our audience more about that? Because I think it's very awesome that you're helping like communities beyond the ones that you live in or that you can touch physically.
Yeah, I have been hooked up with Wisdom for Asia for a long time, many, many years. And basically what they do is they go over to India. He's trying to go over there at least 4 times a year. Pandemic kind of, threw a wrench into that. But he will go over there and he will find villages that need water. Because if you know anything about third world countries, the water is diseased. There's a lot of things that are in the water, including bodily fluids, things like that in their water. So, and they don't have a way to filter it out like we do. Right. So he'll find villages, and there are villages over there still. We don't really have villages here in America. But in India, there are villages. People have, concrete. They literally will take a big rock and break it down into concrete and then pack it together, and that's their house. Their restroom is a hole in the ground. That type of village still exists in the world. Mm-hmm. And he will go over there and he'll find a village that needs fresh water, and he will drill water wells. And not only does it give the village a fresh source of water, but it also, he'll hire people out of the village to help him drill it. So he will also give them jobs while they're also, basically they're drilling their own water well for fresh water, but he's paying them to do it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's great. Yeah. And so he'll probably do 3 or 4 wells at a time while he's there in 3 or 4 different villages. So I think that has touched my heart. And I also have children over in India in an orphanage that I support. So up until last year, I had been going almost every year since 2011. Since 2011, I believe. Anyway, and I get to go over there to the orphanage and stay at the orphanage and spend some time with the kiddos. And yeah, I help support them as well.
That's incredible. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing, how much you can like leverage the power of real estate in order to, create time freedom for you to do that, but also create, generate enough, income in order to cover some of those things as well. Right. Like, cause money is a tool, right? And you can use that as a tool to help others. And I just love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it. If you are listening and not watching the video, you should watch the video, because like the passion like lights up all over your face, Christy. It's really phenomenal. That was really cool.
Thank you.
It's like very close to your heart and your soul. So that was great.
Yeah.
Yes. I love the people of India.
Yeah, that's amazing. I want to get involved with Water for Asia now. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing everything, Christy. Unfortunately, we're now getting towards the end of the show.
Okay.
which brings us to the Adventurous Four. These are 4 exploratory questions we ask all of our guests. So the first
Okay.
question, Christy, is where is one place you wish to travel to and why?
I'm going to have to say Tuscany. And so, yeah. So,
Beautiful.
growing up, my grandparents always watched these documentaries, and all these different shows on the Discovery Channel and National Geographic and all that. Tuscany was always the scenery, and being immersed in the culture is something that I've always wanted. So that's definitely the bucket list, the architecture of the buildings, the beauty of the landscape. I just want to go there and immerse myself for a while.
No, I love
I
it.
love it. That's great.
Yeah, Italy's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yes.
The second question is, what is the number one thing on your bucket list and how are you leveraging real estate investing to achieve it?
Okay, so you sent these questions beforehand. So I thought about this a lot and I'm like, bucket list. Okay, so the very first thing that I thought of was my family bucket list. I've got to be honest, it's a family thing. So my bucket list is to be able to help my children and grandchildren to be secure and have stability in their life. So I want to get them homes.
Oh, I love
So
it.
that's my number one thing. And the only way that I could see that I could actually do that for them is through multifamily investing.
Yeah.
That's
That's
amazing.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great actually.
Absolutely. So the third question, Christy, is what is one piece of advice for someone who wants to start passively investing in real estate?
Yeah, I have said it probably 100 times through the podcast, but find the right people to partner with. Make sure that your values are aligned with their values.
Mhm.
Make sure that your future goals are aligned with what they can help you with. It's the most important thing. I really can't stress it enough. You're going to be married to these people from 3 to 5 years in the multifamily space. So make sure that you find the right people with the right values that you want to be connected with for 3 to 5 years, because that's how long you're going to be in an investment with them.
Yeah,
Absolutely. No, that's great advice. Thank you for that.
yeah,
Sure.
And then the fourth and final question is, if you had unlimited resources available to you, how would you leave an impact?
Okay, so I'm going to touch on my second giving phase, and that's to end. I'm going to get emotional on this one.
Well, that's
Sex trafficking and human trafficking throughout the world.
Nope.
I know that there are men, women, and children, all that have been human trafficked, and people think that it's just a sexual thing, but it's not necessarily just a sexual thing. There's also slavery still going on,
Mhm.
and people just don't see it and they don't understand because it's not in the forefront of our minds. It's not out there being publicized that things like this are going on in the world, but they really are. And so if I could impact, it would be to stop sex trafficking and human trafficking throughout the world.
No, thank you so for being so vulnerable. And it's true, because like even in the US, like it's something that isn't even really talked about because all we do is consume politics,
Yeah.
really, or
Correct.
but like
Yep.
there's so many worse things that are happening
Yes.
in the US,
Yes.
but all over the world. And
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being very vulnerable, because it's super important for
Thank
people
you.
to know and hear about.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And India is one of the most impact for that as well. That's why India is so close to my heart.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So before we end the show, Christy, would you mind sharing with our adventurous family how they can get a hold of you and learn more about you?
Sure. Keeton Realty Investments.com, Keeton Realty Investments.com, or you can email me at Christy at Keeton Realty Investments.com.
Perfect.
Yeah,
We'll drop all that in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Christy, thank you so much again for being here with us. Yeah, it was truly
such a pleasure.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I mean, like you are great. Like, I love what you're doing. And so thank you again for everything.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time that you've given me.
Yeah.
It's
It's
such
an
a
honor.
So Thank you so much. So until next time, explore more, adventure awaits.
Woo!